You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Got the truth in my pack, leftist lies and globalists, I'm pushing them back. From the saloon to the airwaves, I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big guns creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands. But I'm the Sherpa, guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots, lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Freedom's calling. Leftist judges twisting, trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rebel shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promises empty, their hearts ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Storms, I've walked the line, 41 years, badge on the grind, now I'm on the air, my voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall, sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight, torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa, freedom's battleground. Berserk, Bobcat, Rose will never kneel. For God and country, this fight is real.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We'll see how long this lasts. Welcome to BZ's Berserk, Bobcat, Saloon radio show, live and direct from the SHR Media Studios in Noph, Idaho. I happen to be this guy. I am most deaf, your conservative Sherpa, and I'm the guy that guides you lovingly, willingly through the terribly insidious maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies and betrayal and deceit and tyranny and chaos, so weiter, and stuff like that there. And we have a very good show for you tonight. As I indicated a little bit earlier, you saw that we have a great guest in the saloon tonight. That's Mike Fitzpatrick, who happens to be my cybersecurity expert from NCX Group. And we'll let Mike talk about what it is that his company does and why he's here and all the things that he's going to be talking about. I believe I have enough material for 2 hours. I usually have enough material for 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. I think I have enough for tonight. But before we do that, I want to show you this. Because I am nothing if not the guy that is loyal to SHR. Now, I've showed you this before. This is the SHR Media Shop. And to go there, you go to Mission Ready Men, because the Mission Ready Men briefing via Earl Big E Jackson, that's his website that you go to in order to get all of our cool swag. And you go to missionreadymen.com and then /collections. And this is the SHR Media Shop. And look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shirts that you can get. This, whatever the hell this is, I don't know. It looks like a hoodie, but I hate hoodies. And this right here, the SHR mug. Well, I'm going to take this down and show you, because my jetpack came in, and here's the SHR Media mug that you can get. Now, when I put this up, let me go back to this. What I said was originally, it looks like this mug is made of metal, because I've seen mugs like that before with the thin stripe on top. And customarily, they're made out of a thin metal, and they're covered with enamel, and then however it is that the logos and whatnot are pressed onto them. Well, folks, when I'm wrong, I must admit that I'm wrong, because this ain't no metal mug. And this thing weighs about 2.8 pounds, okay? This is a really substantial ass mug. And it does have the black rim around it. But anyway, look at the size of this thing compared to my manly hands. My hands are ever so manly. And look at the size of this thing. This is a great mug. It's big, it's thick, it's heavy, it's insulated. It'll keep your cold stuff cold. It'll keep your hot stuff hot. There you go. Get your fat hand out of the way of the logo. So I'm drinking in my SHR mug, and you can be too. But wait, there's more. A large package came for me the other day, and it had in this, because I am ungovernable, but it had some additional things as well. Hey, look, you can have the official BZ, your conservative Sherpa, at shrmedia.com shirt. Now, it was centered up on the horizontal side, but let me center this up here for the folks that are watching in portrait, vertical view. This is bright. This is ironed on or applied with marmots. I'm not sure. Maybe it's marmot juice. Marmot juice, along with lime juice, is known to set logos into shirts with the best and most efficacy of anything. So you can get your BZ shirt right there, just like I did. And I will be wearing this in the very near future. That's one. And then there's another one. Speaking of Earl Big E Jackson, as I unfold this, and it unfolds before you, look, this is the Mission Ready Men briefing official shirt that you can get from SHR. These aren't just, pipe dreams. Sure, I wish I had a shirt. It'd be nice if they actually made them. They actually make them. This is a wonderful, well, it's in Omar the tent maker size, which is That's what I need. But here's a great Mission Ready Men shirt that you can have as you watch Big E Jackson on Tuesday and Thursday mornings, 9 a.m. Pacific, before my show. He's got a morning show. And then, have you ever wanted to Eve? Most all of us have wanted to Eve at one time or another. And look, it's the Ever of Common Sense shirt from SHR. Oh, I forgot to show you. Look. On the sleeves, we have the manufacturer of these shirts, which is, I don't know if you can see that, 7 Armors. That's Earl's company, 7 Armors. You can see it a little bit more that way. And this is the shirt for Jersey Joe's show. Look, let me put it in there in the vertical view so you know what the true name of the show is. The Ever of Common Sense. This is Jersey Joe's show. It's violent. Look at that blood. But if you like Jersey Joe, that's the shirt you need to get. But wait. Have you ever come to the precipice of something? Have you ever come so close that when you look into the abyss, it looks back at you? Well, then this is the t-shirt for you. This is also from 7 Armors, from Earl Big E Jackson, and now Sean of the Edge of Liberty got this cool shirt, a nice dark blue shirt. Look at that great contrast. Kids, you need this shirt. I can tell you right now, because if you're listening and watching to the Edge of Liberty, you're right there on the precipice. Then you need to get this shirt. Great shirt. But wait. There's also the shirt for any and every patriotic American. As I unfold this before you, for the very first time, this is virgin unfolding. I've not unfolded these shirts yet, and I chose this situation, this episode, today, this show, to show you what you could get. Now, first, look at this. Now, this is different. I'll unpack this for you. I just noticed this myself. I hadn't seen this before. This is on the arm of the 250th anniversary shirt. And maybe I can kind of unfold it all the way for you effectively as much as I can. That's a beautiful, beautiful logo on the arm of this shirt. Again, designed by Mrs. Earl. I don't know if she wants her name mentioned. And this is the shirt that all good patriotic Americans need to get. 250 reasons right here why you need to celebrate our anniversary and to read the source documents. It's our 250th anniversary this year of this beloved, beautiful nation. These aren't just designs and dreams. These are actual shirts that you can get. They're beautiful designs. They're absolutely gorgeous. And Mrs. Earl designed all of them, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. They're gorgeous. And if I can get them, and if I can wear them, and I'm going to wear them, then you can wear them too. And without being too repetitive, you can go here to missionreadymen.com, missionreadymen.com/collections. And here's all the shirts that you can get. A hoodie. I don't know. I'm not going with that. Okay. But anyway, you can get those. All of those things are available for your purchase. You can be absolutely 100% SHR swagalicious in no time. Just order, go to missionreadymen.com/collections and you can have the same stuff that I'm going to wear and all the rest of the SHR hosts are going to wear in the not too terribly distant future. Also want to remind everybody that this is just a brief drop in, this is Jake. Jake is doing really well. He's still tired. He sleeps most all the day, but we have not had yet to put him on an IV. He's been sufficiently drinking enough water, and we've been giving him water in tubes, little syringe tubes down his gullet throatulus, and he's kept up. We're giving him big syringes full of really high protein food. He's taken it. Plus, he's decided that as of about 2 weeks ago or so, he's going to eat the most off the wall crap, and we really don't care, because as long as he eats it and it goes down the throat, who cares? Well, let's see. He loves him some ice cream. He loves him some chocolate milkshakes. He really likes DQ stuff. So we intentionally go to DQ to bring him treats. Oh, and he also likes Arby's. And his favorite of all is when we go to Costco and get, say, a rotisserie chicken. The second a rotisserie chicken comes into the house from the car in the garage, he does the old Jake thing of he'll go to his bowl. He knows where it is. The water dish is right next to that. And he'll spin slower, kind of like he used to. And then Costco chicken, HMOG. He loves him some Costco chicken. And I already talked about the whole thing with Muslims and dogs, and everybody knows my opinion on that. For those of you who just tuned in, yeah, I'll take a dog over a muzzy 10 times every day, every microsecond. But, you know, you would expect nothing but that from me. We got a whole bunch of people in chat. We've got Sean in chat, Ricky Robinson in chat. Let me see, I don't miss anybody up here. I'm going up. Mission Ready Men is in chat. O2AMT is in chat. Phantom, I believe, was in chat. Everybody is congratulating each other, shaking each other's hands, saying, wow, that's the kind of stuff we need. We, all of us in chat, need to become precisely as swagalicious as potentially swagalicious. Oh, Reaver of Common Sense is in chat. We need to become equally swagalicious. NCX group is in chat. I will be introducing NCX group very, very shortly. And so the chat room is already active, very, very active, and you can be in there too. This is my swagalicious, plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room. Look at the shag, folks. If that does not fall under the definition of shagalicious, I do not know. And look, if you're cold, you can sit closest to the fire. I'm sure somebody who's sitting there wouldn't mind moving for you if your teeth are chattering, and you too can go into the chat room. But there's only one place to go for that chat room, and that's the SHR Media YouTube channel, the SHR Media YouTube channel. And also, I want to thank everybody. You have pushed us, the followers, the viewers, the chatters, our fans have pushed us over the 1,000 mark for subscribers. We have 1,050 plus subscribers to the channel. So if you would, hey, hit us up, subscribe. And then when you do so, then you can click on the bell so that you can get notified of our shows. That's the way to be. And also I want to say at this point, because I've already used up 20 minutes of the show, here is Mike Fitzpatrick of NCX group. And I want to welcome him to the show because, as we already agreed, There are going to be some things that we'll talk about, and there are going to be some things that Mike gets to, I guess, either affirm or deny. And we'll talk about all of those things, because if I can get this out, we'll be talking about a whole bunch of things tonight. So Mike Fitzpatrick, founder and CEO of NCX Group, welcome and thanks for being here.
Hey, BZ, glad to be with you. Awesome shirts, man. Those are fantastic. I said in the chat, I think I'm going to have Earl make some for me.
Those are like super cool. Those are super thick mammy cool. They're wonderfully cool. So anyway, chat is up in the lower right-hand portion of the we control the vertical. We control the horizontal. And it's in the lower left section of those of you who choose to view where it is that you choose. You love horizontal? Go to Rumble. I'm live there now. You like vertical portrait mode? We're all that and more on YouTube right now. So let me start with you, Mike Fitzpatrick. For those people who are not aware of who you are, and this is probably, I'd say, the 25th or more times that you've been on the show. And I have you on the show because you are a super professional dude, and you are the consultant for like hundreds of thousands of people. Okay, maybe that's a little bit of hyperbole. First, here's the bowl, and now I'm hyping it. But it's not necessarily so, because you have clients and customers that are really, really big, to the point where you have consistently, and I admire this, said that my big customers and the big private concerns, corporations, et cetera, that I serve, you will not know who they are. So I'm keeping their privacy private. And I have to admire that. So you go from the tippy top to really big, huge corporations, all the way down to people that may kind of sort of be in the mom and pop venue. And so tell us, if you would, Mike Fitzpatrick, what NCX Group does, how they help people, and the nature of cybersecurity. Then we'll get into some generalities, and then we'll get into some real specifics today. So Mike Fitzpatrick, tell us about you and NCX Group.
Thanks, BZ. It's great to be back with you again. And I was going to say, was this the 24th or 25th time? But it's always fun. We always run out of things to talk about. And his little wish list that he's got of things to talk about, we normally don't get to. But my firm, NCX, we're a cyber risk consulting firm, or cyber risk advisory is the new appropriate term. And we work with clients that are global multinationals, all the way down to, we have a client that's 15 employees, but they're publicly traded on the New York Exchange. And we cover all the different industry sectors, from banking, finance, healthcare, retail, critical infrastructure, really name it. And that's where we tend to do what we do. And we've been doing it for almost 25 years. When I started, I was doing an interview with a media outlet the other day. I said, when I started, there was no such term as cybersecurity. That word did not exist. Frameworks that we use for assessing risk didn't exist. So we've kind of seen it all, been there, done that kind of approach. A lot of what we're doing now is moving into cyber diligence for transactions, working with business owners as well as the buy side on finding the risk before they make a purchase or sell the business.
So basically, you provide a lot of an analysis. And I can distinctly recall you saying that, we get the call when bad things have already happened.
Yeah.
And there are, to mitigate that, lots and lots of things that people can do. People meaning, from the smallest of businesses to the very tippy top of monstrous corporations. There are many things that they can do. And when I first began speaking to you, one of the things I can clearly recall you saying is, yeah, but they don't. So why? What's the dealio?
BC, it's really, and what I'm concerned about, and this is kind of where Mike is looking at and focused on right now, is those that are going to sell their business over the next 10 years. Oh, that's a lot of boomers. That's a lot of Xers. This is a group who has 80% of their retirement tied up in selling that business. But the reality is that the vast majority of them, and the insurance company data is really clear on this, the vast majority of those mid-market, lower mid-market businesses have never conducted a single cybersecurity assessment. As a result, they're going to run into a buzzsaw when they get to the buy side. The buy side, when they send out the checklist for the seller to go through, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? If you can't complete the checkbox process, which is inadequate to begin with on the buy side, but when they can't check all the boxes, the seller, the haircut on the valuation of the business, let's say the business is valued at 50 million. The haircut they're going to take even before negotiations start is going to be 10%. So they will lose 5 million in that example right off the top. And we haven't even gotten into the accounting or anything else. And the other side of it that really concerns me is whether or not these business owners are actually going to be able to get through the transaction. Because if they're not protected and they're not doing the right things, and if they're trusting their MSP to actually do the right things, that's another mistake. They need to get vigilant. They need to understand that the most valuable asset they have is that business. And if they don't take some steps to protect it, they're not going to get out of it what they hope to get out of it.
Well, wouldn't you say generally, Mike Fitzpatrick of NCX Group, wouldn't you say that the onus really is now on the various businesses, to the point where if businesses are hacked, and I'll ask you the biggest hack that you've seen most recently, but if your business is hacked, now your exposure to suits is potentially enormous if people's data somehow gets hacked, is released, and then invariably there's some kind of a class action depending on how big these businesses are. So if you would go, tell you what, we're going to take a break. Okay. I'll ask you the question now, and then when we come back, you can provide the answer. There have been a whole bunch of laws that have come to pass with regard to businesses and cybersecurity and the security of people's data, that has changed the entire atmosphere of corporations and businesses. And when we come back, I'd like to have Mike address that. Many changes that if you're not on top of things, folks, and if you're a business or a corporation, and even yourself, maybe you are your own business individually, you can't afford it. Not anymore.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Listen in to the Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a show equipped for bombast. Tune in Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific, featuring a refreshing dose of reality. Jersey Joe fearlessly tackles the tough topics with no nonsense. Just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com, where you can hear the Reaver of Common Sense in action. He may not always be polite. He may not always be refined. But one thing's for sure. He always tells it like it is.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? And check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with 7 Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passion.
Are you looking for bold, honest conversation about the issues shaping America? Well, let me welcome you to Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen, where we take you beyond the headlines. We dive into politics and culture, struggles of everyday life. It's raw, real, and unfiltered. If you're ready for truth with a punch, pull up a chair and join us. That's right, Unleashed 101, where real talk feels like home. Find us at unleashed101.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. We look forward to seeing you. Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
It's the first half hour down. I'm BZ. That is Mike Fitzpatrick, the founder and CEO of NCX Group. And I want to mention, before we get to the question that I asked prior to the break, I want to go over some things that I've noticed most recently, and that anybody who does a podcast or anybody who streams through some of the major streamers, there have been some issues, and I want to go over some of those. For example, KLRN, a lot of the people that are there, the folks that are here at SHR, we've noticed that, well, it says here, this is tomsguide.com, X was down, and this was yesterday. Here's what happened during the massive outage. And it said yesterday or day before, Elon Musk's X just went through a massive global outage starting from around 8 a.m. Eastern. People were seeing blank homepage feeds both on the website and the app. The website is now loading again. Cloudflare, broken API, etc. Well, I mention this because just prior to my Tuesday night show and prior to this show, StreamYard that I use for projection said, oh, by the way, don't expect X to be able to carry your streams. We don't know when this is going to get better. And so everybody that customarily used to rely on X to help amplify their streams, well, they're not getting anything on X. And my show tonight said, just like Tuesday, hey, don't expect X to work because it probably won't. And then there are all sorts of issues with regard to YouTube. YouTube, I mean, just listen to Sean of Edge of Liberty. We had him on when we were doing the 1,000 subscriber show. And Sean went through the massive litany of things that he had to do in order to get the shrmedia.com site all spiffed up for Google. And then the other thing we've noticed recently within the past at least week, maybe a week and a half, there was a time before that when we went to the portrait mode that we were getting 5,000, 4,000. I got a couple of 3,500 viewer shows. And then in the past week, we've been really, really throttled. And the only thing that we can think of is because we're conservative. So a lot of people have questions about that. There's an Oklahoma AG who's saying, you know what? What's going on with YouTube? And by the way, there are 15 other attorneys general throughout a number of other states who are saying, what's going on? I don't get this. This isn't making sense. Well, it does. Here's another thing through Reddit. A lot of people, and now they're discovering, well, apparently Reddit doesn't like Firefox. Or excuse me, YouTube doesn't like Firefox. And people are getting, when they attempt to go through Firefox to YouTube, they get the little circular planet of death. So these are things, these are social entities that are censoring the crap. I can think of no other reason than that are censoring the crap out of mostly conservative media. And we've certainly noticed it here on SHR. KLRN has noticed it as well. X, YouTube, it goes on and on and on. If you could possibly address that in just a moment. But Mike Fitzpatrick, the question posed before we left on the break was, corporations, companies, etc., are being held to new standards and new rules to the point where, as you mentioned in the first half hour, you want to sell your company? You better have all your digital goats in line, along with all those ducks and snakes and constrictors. So maybe you can update us with that information, Mike.
Well, so there's always been a lot of regulation. There's always been a lot of fines. There's always been the FCC involvement for any kind of breach. There's, I mean, the litany of fines that are available for poor performance and or a breach. I mean, it's catastrophic at the end of the day when the dollar amounts go in for the breach. But the reality is the breach today is not as problematic as a ransomware event. A ransomware event, if we go back and talk about the people selling their businesses, one, they're not going to get through the exit. They're not going to get through the transaction without starting with cybersecurity and cyber risk programs in their business, probably a good 2 years before they sell. Typically with the accounting side on selling your business, there's a look back of 3 years, 5 years, maybe even 7 years on the accounting side. Those same principles are going to be applied to the cybersecurity side. And I see that cyber risk and cybersecurity are going to be as important in the next 2 or 3 years as the accounting side is in getting your deal done. But here's what we know. We know that last year, 74% of businesses were hit with a ransomware event, ransomware or some type of cyber event, 74%.
Okay, hold up that car wash. Repeat that for people that for whatever reason that zazzed through their ears. Say that again, please, sir.
So for the last 10 years, the number of businesses hit was rather consistent. 62, 63%, 60%. Last year, it jumped 14% to 73% of all businesses had some form of a cyber event, whether that's a breach, whether that's ransomware, whatever the case is. The other reality, and this is documented by the insurance companies, only 33% will survive that event. I'll say that again.
Yes,
only
please.
33% will survive the event. 66% will be gone. And the statistics on this are really clear. Will be gone. Out of business. Everything that you built, gone. 66% of you will be out of business in 6 months. But yet, 80% of small business owners, small, mid-sized business owners, I mean, I've talked to business owners with 1,500, 2,000 employees. They've never conducted a cybersecurity assessment. They don't believe that the bad guys are looking for them, and they are, because you don't have the defenses. It's simple predatory nature. So they don't have the defenses. They don't have the mechanisms in place. They think it's all hype. They think it's all fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And the reality is there's laws in 50 states that require us to do post-mortems in the event of a breach to figure out what happened and who needs to be notified. So we know what the data is. We've done the math. We know what the costs are. So these business owners, if you're thinking about selling your business in the next 5 years, and there's 12 million of you, you need to get this together or you're going to leave money on the table. It's that simple.
So Mike Fitzpatrick, NCX Group, is it simply because most corporations are thinking, I don't know, let's say one of two things. I'm so small, no one would ever want to target me. I'm so teeny weeny, and insignificant that I don't have to worry about that stuff. That's the guy over there. That's not me. I'm not attractive. I'm not worth hacking. What are you going to find out about me? You know, I changed a tire in 1973. No, come on. And the other thing is that I'm sure they're thinking is, well, I'm really having a difficult time right now. I can't afford to even think about that. And is it not like the mechanic saying, you know what? You can pay me now, or you can pay me later, but you are going to pay me. And when you pay me later, it will be more painful, sir.
Well, I mean, the cost of a breach and the cost of disruption for small businesses, the average figure is $10,000 per hour in disruption costs.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, the average ransomware event, the downtime associated with an average ransomware event for small, mid-sized businesses is 22 to 24 days. 24 hours in a day, $10,000 an hour, $240,000 a day, 5.4 to 5.6 million. That's what it's going to cost your business with idle time, with no revenue coming in, no way to respond to anybody, no way to do your accounting, no way to pay your receivable. You know, it's a mess. And let me give you a real world example, BZ, because I think it's, and maybe this is boring for everybody out there, but I think it's important, especially for these business owners that are thinking at some point in time, that are in their 50s and their 60s and are starting to think about selling their business. They need to realize that this is something they're going to have to do. But about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I guess now, I got a call from a friend who wanted me to step in and help a friend of a friend with a ransomware event. Ended up talking to the CEO, nice guy, engineering firm, 200 employees, offices in Asia, Canada, and here in the States. So a legitimate business, a large business. They were hit with ransomware. They were about 7 days in on the event. He thought his IT team, who was an outsourced IT team, an MSP, which is what most small businesses use now, they had it under control. And as we went along, he says, listen, he said, I'll talk to you about security after I get through it, but I think we're going to be fine in a couple of days. And the last thing I said to him that day was, it's typically 22 to 24 days. So we get to about day 30, and I hadn't heard from Brian. And so I reached out, lobbed him a call, and I said, hey, how you doing? I said, are you back and operational? And he said, no, not yet. And he said, Mike, I've learned two things through this.
Oh,
he said, okay, tell me the two things. The two things are, one, no one told me cybersecurity was this important to my business.
Except you.
Well, I didn't know him before the shit hit the fan.
Oh, okay. All right. Cart before horse.
you know, we were part of the fire department that was called in to try to save him. But you know, the other thing that he learned is he can't trust his IT team. And the IT team is where the breach came through. The IT team is an outsourced IT provider, and the hackers used the IT company to hack his business or deploy ransomware within his business.
So if you think you're okay by, okay, I know I have a business and I'm sort of aware of cybersecurity. I know I'll contract to somebody else. And your statement is, well, okay, but that's no guarantor of you're not receiving a hack.
Well, let's talk about the MSPs for a minute. So you've contracted with your IT provider. A lot of these IT providers initially started off helping businesses with 10 employees or fewer. That's actually grown now to be about 500 employees and under is where these outsourced IT providers are living now. Like anyone in IT, they think they can do sometimes more than what they're capable of. But never never let capability get in the way of making an extra buck here, or along the way. So what I guess it was in December, I was asked to speak at a conference for these MSPs, for these outsourced MSPs. And I went through and I did some research. It was really interesting. The MSPs are responsible for 30% of all third-party breaches now.
Okay. And again, delineate to people who may have just tuned in, what is an MSP?
MSP is an outsourced IT provider. MSP stands for Managed Services Provider. Typically, in this context, it's an outsourced IT company. So somebody you've hired to take care of your IT, to keep everything operational and up and going.
Okay. This just popped into my brainulus, so let me ask this, because otherwise I'm sure as shit going to forget. Are there people in MSPs who are on the take or intentionally provide openings for other companies to be hacked? Because you know me, I don't trust people. And are there occasions where it's been discovered that MSPs, well, they're the conduit through which the hackers worked, and perhaps to the point where I'll just look the other way and okay, the gate's open here. Go ahead and go.
I don't think it's that well conceived. I think
incompetence is great then.
Yeah. I think that's more to the case. There's 40,000 of these MSPs in the United States. 40,000.
Wow.
Outsourced IT providers. Last year, and part of the speaking engagement that I did at this conference for these MSPs, I went in as my, under my credentials as a distinguished fellow for the Ponemon Institute, and I did the research. So last year, 70% of that 40,000 pool of outsourced IT providers were hacked. That meant 27,000 of them were hacked. Each MSP carries an average of 122 clients.
Okay.
When the MSP is hacked, the bad guys are able to get to, usually the average is 76% of that 122, which meant that 2 million businesses were hacked last year as a result of an MSP.
Okay, might I suggest that's something that you repeat for those who just tuned in, because I'm discovering a lot of stuff on this show. So please regale us with that again, Mike Fitzpatrick.
So there's 40,000 MSPs, outsourced IT providers in the United States. Last year, 70% or 27,000 of them were hacked. Once the hacker gets inside the MSP, 76% of the time, they're able to compromise the 122 clients that the average MSP has, which last year led to 2 million businesses being hacked. Let me give you, BC, I'll give you a real world example of this.
Okay.
So
you say that, and the first thing I think is, hashtag, because what's the point if I go to an MSP and this is the result?
well, and this is part of the illusion, right? Business owners go to the MSPs to handle their IT, and they think that these guys are competent, and quite a few are, but there's a vast majority that are not. And so they go to them, they turn over IT, but then they don't know who to talk to for these other things. And the MSP says, I can do that for you. And they're now doing that with cybersecurity. So, real world example. About 3 years ago, I get a call from my son's former high school down in San Marcos, Catholic high school down in San Marcos, California. They know what I do, so they reached out and said, Mike, we've got a situation. We've had our domain compromised. How we found out about it is the hackers were using the domain of the Catholic school to send advertisements for the weed shop down the street. I kid you not.
Perfect.
So
Just what they need.
Huh?
Just what they need.
Yeah, exactly. So we get into this a little bit, and they had called their insurance company, and by the time they got to me, it was later in the day on a Friday. The insurance company hadn't responded yet. The fire department has not come. So meanwhile, the hackers are busy. they are doing more hackery stuff. And they have taken down the domain. They have taken all the school stuff from Google and the Google workspace offline. The IT guy had a pretty solid plan. I checked back in with them on Monday and found out that how they got breached was through an MSP. Now, it wasn't their MSP. The MSP got hit. The hackers went through the roster of clients. They found an accounting firm. The accounting firm is the accounting firm of said high school. So what they did is when they got in, they went through all the accounting clients, found the high school, then tried to go in and change their payroll accounts to the bank. But there was one sharp person that actually went through cyber awareness training at ADT, and denied the change in accounts. At least somebody was paying attention. But that's how they got access to the high school. The high school was not even a client of the MSP. So this kind of stuff happens every day. And so these business owners, if they're thinking about selling their business, you need to validate your MSP. You need to validate and put in a security program with an independent entity. It is absolutely part and parcel to the accounting rules that are out there. You can't be the CPA that does the books and be the CPA that does the audit of the books. There has to be independence from a fiduciary standpoint. And that's kind of where we set in all this on the diligence side. For the buy side, we're kind of like the home inspector. We go through, make sure that everything's as it should be, and tell them what it's going to take to fix it. On the sell side, we're actually the contractor that helps them prep it and get it ready for sale and make sure that they're protected getting through the exit. I like to think of myself as Batman of the sell side.
Well, let me ask you a few questions before we go. We got about 4 minutes before the top of the hour break.
Okay.
And I sent a text to you and I said, hey, why don't we talk about these things? Then when we get back, there are a whole bunch of very specific things that I'd like to ask you.
Okay.
Because so much of AI is revolving. And you already know my thoughts about AI because I'm Mr. Negative. Oh, I'm Mr. Positive, really? So Before we get to the top of the hour break, are there any trends that are beginning to occur in terms of hacking? And if there are trends that are identifiable, are there new things, different things that perhaps they're more wanting to target these days? Well, that was confusing.
No, I've got you. So the targets, as always, are the smaller businesses that can't defend themselves. The bad guys know that there's no defense there. It's like, a guy that brings a knife to a gunfight. It's just not going to go well. So that is a big trend. Last year, ransomware, the total value of the ransomware market last year was 10.5 trillion. That crime does pay on the bad guy side with that. So that's a big trend. AI is a huge trend. Businesses are running to AI left, right, and center. But the bad news is they're doing it with no cybersecurity program in place and no real guardrails in place for AI within the business, which is just a recipe for a catastrophe. So those are some of the two big trends right now. AI is at the top of everybody's list. Everybody says they do AI or AI this, AI that. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think there's going to be a pushback, maybe a little bit of a bubble, but we'll see.
Okay, let me ask you a question, because it again popped into my head, but this is where my head goes. Are there people in businesses, because they've heard, oh, AI is trendy, we should get involved in this AI thing. And so from their computers, laptops, tablets on their desks, they decide, I'm going to go in and have AI design X, Y, or Z. And somehow they're thinking, because I'm using AI, for some reason, it's like I get a King's X and AI will automatically detect if I'm being hacked because that's what I'm paying AI for.
Well,
can it possibly be that silly?
There's just one problem. You have to actually put the technology in that utilizes AI to detect that stuff. We have 80% of them that don't. All humor aside, the businesses that have put in cybersecurity measures, cybersecurity tools, or a security operations center, a lot of that technology is utilizing AI to sort through signal and sort through noise to get to signal. Because the number of events, the number of just machine certificates within a network these days, on average, is 115,000 certificates to allow machines to talk to machines. It's crazy how complex the networks are today. And so to that point, AI is being used for those individuals that are deployed smart security solutions. Now, if you haven't, AI in its general form is not going to do anything.
Wonderful. Okay, that's Mike Fitzpatrick. And what we're going to do right now is we'll take a break. And then when we come back, I have a bunch of very specific things to ask of Mike Fitzpatrick of the NCX group, to include Palantir, AI, foreign hacking into our government. What's the future of AI? What's the progression of AI? What about AI infrastructure? Are people pushing back? What's the rate of development? How fast is it exploding? Is it beyond human ken, or even our ability to basically understand what is actually happening here? And is it's so far away, there's no putting it back in the bottle.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Mission log entry. I mean, let's face it, who's even counting anymore? The Lost Wonder is officially off course, chasing rogue rocket launches, fringe science, and things that probably violate causality. If it burns fuel, bends time, or makes scientists very uncomfortable, yeah, I'm probably going to talk about it. Every other Sunday on KLRN Radio, The Lost Wanderer, because space doesn't come with a roadmap, and honestly, I wouldn't follow if it did.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? You need to check out Mission Ready Men via Earl Big E Jackson on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Folks, welcome back. I'm BZ. You're in the Saloon, BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I am doing the job the American media maggots won't. I am fundamentally changing America one leftist diaper at a time. And of course, normally, as per regular, well, we don't water our drinks, just like we don't water our conversations. And in terms of watering a conversation, we're doing nothing of that tonight. My guest is Mike Fitzpatrick from CEO Group. I made fun of this earlier. Why don't we have a Marco Rubio for YouTube? And I'm thinking, okay, why don't we have a Marco Rubio for X or any of the other streaming platforms? Because I'm sure that he could certainly scribble all that stuff up to speed. This is Mike Fitzpatrick, founder and CEO of NCX Group. Kudos, mega kudos, mega kudos to Mike for being here tonight and being so generous with his time. One of the things I wanted to talk about, and Mike said, well, I'll just let Mike respond, is there's a guy at Kim.com who said Palantir was allegedly hacked. An AI agent was used to gain super user access, and here's what the hackers found. Peter Thiel, Alex Karp committed mass surveillance of world leaders and titans of industry on a massive scale. They have thousands of hours of transcribed and searchable conversations of Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and Elon Musk. So whether that's true or where that goes, let me ask the first question that came into my Mark 1 Model 1 Brainulus, which was, can AI be used for hacking? In other words, if you're a fairly decent hacker or you're somebody who wants to learn, can you utilize AI and say, dear AI, I hate BZ's Saloon. I hate, conservatives.com. Show me a way in which I can go in and hack any one of those places. I've asked the question. Now go, take off, do. Is
So
that
which part
possible? Is that
which
something we
part
do?
of that do you want me to address? The Kim.com comment or the can AI hack something?
Let's start with that first. If I'm a newbie to AI, or maybe I know great and voluminous things about utilizing AI, can I go to the dark side utilizing AI and clasp that as a tool in terms of, well, this is going to make me more efficacious at hacking? Is that a possibility or a
Well,
possibility?
So anything's possible with code and with technology. Anything's possible. Now the more likely route is somebody goes out and outsources, bots to go through and create a ransomware event, ransomware for hire. That's probably going to be much more effective than learning AI, developing the agent to go do it, and all of that, and still end up being tracked. So again, it comes down to what I find is it's always the least path of resistance. It's never the extraordinary that ends up causing the breach. It's always the simple stuff that somebody forgot to do that causes the problem. We have a saying internally, and that is be brilliant at the ordinary, because it's the ordinary that will bite you on the ass. And you should ring that bell for that.
Oh, that hurts. Okay. All right. Let's embiggen me right here. Let's show people what you're talking about.
There
And
we
this
go.
is the point at which I say Mike Fitzpatrick, because I really wasn't thinking about that. Oh my God, that's where I am today. Anyway, so I looked at Palantir. This came out from Kim.com. And one of the things I discovered about Palantir, because it should not shock that I am not familiar with Palantir. So it says essentially that it's a publicly traded company that develops data, integration, analytics from a whole bunch of sources. Its flagship products, Gotham for intelligence and defense, and Foundry for commercial and civil use, connect previously siloed databases to support intelligence operations, counterterrorism, analysis, law enforcement, and enterprise analytics. It's headquartered in Miami, and it was founded by Peter Thiel, Stephen Cohen, Joe Lonsdale, and Alex Karp, and another guy named Nathan Getting. So it sounds like Palantir is something that the military would use and the government would use. That said, now if someone says, hey, Palantir was hacked, and by using Palantir, they have all sorts of stuff that Palantir had. And I remember you saying something similar to, I don't think I'd trust that. So Mike Fitzpatrick, what's the skinny?
So, all right. So Palantir is a publicly traded company. They're on the exchange, right? So there are SEC rules for reporting cyber events and or breaches that publicly traded companies must, did I say must follow.
Okay.
And that is they have to file an 8K in the event of a breach, and they have to do it within 4 days of said breach or cyber event, because cyber is a financial, not a technology issue. So Palantir has filed no such 8K. So I think at this point, the information might be a little bogus.
Okay. Because they have not responded in that way, and they're obligated by the law to do so.
They have to disclose.
Okay. All right. The other thing that I found interesting was, hey, look, apparently, this doesn't have to do with hacking, but I'm curious if you're seeing a trend. This is from the Denver Post, and it looks like Palantir all of a sudden is packing up, leaving Denver and going to Miami.
Yeah, it seems to be more of it seems to be
So is
more
that a
of
trend?
it seems to be more of the political climate in Colorado than anything else.
Okay,
A
but
lot of the same thing in California with businesses leaving because of taxation and the whole millionaire or billionaire wealth tax here in California now.
okay. So depending upon where these various forms of technology may be located, this would only be a trend in terms of attempting to save on the bottom line for a big company, because who wants to be taxed in location X
Well, you know,
if you
Mark Zuckerberg moved to Miami.
Yes, he did. That's absolutely true. So that I guess you could say, yes, this is trending, but it's more about politics and the fiscals, the financials, than it has anything to do with the digital realm at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's always about money. I mean, California was the place to be to develop technology because of the ecosystem within California, not because of, it's, climate's great. You know that climate's great. It's, beautiful countryside, but the weather tax is unbelievable here. What you get charged just for nice weather and crappy roads. It's unbelievable what the price of admission is. But the businesses, and I love this because one of my friends was one of the founders of realtor.com. He, sold his piece and he's off developing a new technology, but he's very pro Marxist California. And he always quotes, well, California is the fourth or fifth largest economy in the world. Well, his company that he helped found just left California because the taxes are too high. So I find that funny. Anyway,
Irony, table for 3
Yeah.
million,
Yeah.
perhaps. Let me put this up also, because this is going to lead us to another topic. Since we're on the topic of Palantir, well, their CEO named Shyam Sankar says the American people are being lied to about AI. He says, well, you know what? We're offered these terribly apocalyptic visions of job loss and oppression and the extinction of the human race. And oh my God, here comes Skynet. And then on the other hand, we hear about all these beautiful purple skied unicorn fantasies and utopias involving how AI will solve everything for everyone, and we'll all be painting pictures, and we'll be learning sculpture and gazing up at the clouds and naming them. And one, look, there's one that looks like a monkey. There's one that looks like I don't know, anybody. Pick a somebody. So are we being lied to about AI?
Well, I guess in what sense, from the standpoint of, will it create more free time? Will it disrupt jobs? Is it evil? I mean, what context do you want to take it from?
Well, he says in the article, and it was written by him, he says, the utopians and the doomers, they're committing the same damn error, and that is they are neglecting human agency. So he says the future of AI isn't something that is an inevitability, something like shackles around the humans to be endured by the human people. It's for us to shape, and where it goes is in fact up to us. Is his more pointed purpose for writing the article.
Well, if you got into like the real meaning of us, who is us? Well, the us are the technology leaders of the world, and they're deciding where AI goes. It's not the collective, you, me, or anybody else. It's the us that run the 6, 7, 8 companies that are really generating AI here in this state, in the States. So from that context, he's probably correct. There's going to be disruption with this. We're seeing it within the consulting world. E&Y, Deloitte, who is it, McKinsey, they've all laid off 10,000 plus people and they have trimmed their staffs, and they're doing a lot on the consulting side, which is admin and document intensive. They're doing it with AI. And teams that used to go out on projects would be a 12 to 15 person team. They can now do that with 3. So they're reducing headcount. A lot of the junior people have been shown the door since the first of the year. So that's going to be unfortunate. Unfortunately, there's no way around that. You mentioned utopians, and it's one of my favorite things, because my priest once said, Mike, you know what the original Greek meaning of utopia was, right? Okay. He went to Oxford. I didn't.
Okay.
And I said, okay, so all right, I'll bite. What's the original meaning of the word utopia in the original Greek? He said it means nowhere.
Oh, okay. Lovely.
It's not heaven on earth. It's literally the original Greek is nowhere. So I always find that funny.
Kids, don't try this at home. Learn about etymology now.
So as we talked about when we were exchanging text messages, 100 years ago, we went from horse and buggy to cars. We went from, outhouses to indoor plumbing. We went from candles and fireplaces to electricity and cooking inside, and incredible things that could definitely be used for bad, but far and away used for good. Definitely disrupted jobs and career paths. You just don't see a whole lot of blacksmiths anymore.
Okay, let me ask you this, and I don't know if you're allowed to name things or not. You mentioned that you said what the top 5 AI companies are in California. What are some of them, the biggest ones that are in California that you can think of?
Well, Meta, OpenAI.
Perhaps I should think of Meta when I think of AI, but that's not the first thing that came to mind.
No, but I mean that.
But I can see that, yes.
How the government actually got access to databases was through the social networks that they invested in early days. So I mean, it's all part and parcel to how the government collects data. So that's why Palantir doesn't, it is what it is. Flock safety bugs me more than Palantir, quite frankly.
Yes, we spoke about that. As a matter of
Flock is troubling. And they're using AI on license plate readers, and it's not as accurate as it could be. So, I mean, there's real problems there. Let's see, who else is out here? X is gone. X has gone to California. XAI is in Texas now. I'm sorry, left California. It's gone to Texas. NVIDIA, I think, is still here in California. Who else? Google's here. Yeah.
Oh, right. And see, that's another thing. When I don't think of Google as connected to Gemini, but yeah, that's Google's attempt to get big time, feet deep into AI.
Well, Google's well ahead of everybody.
Oh, okay.
Google had they started teaching their AI about 12 years ago. Ray Kurzweil.
Why does that name sound familiar?
Kurzweil, Oregon.
That's the name. Okay.
Yeah. So Ray is also a futurist. He's responsible for the fax machine and other technologies that we use. He created. Wow. Ray is also the author of the concept of the singularity. And so for those that don't know what the singularity is the blending of man and machine. And that man will finally be able to create like God. And that comes from Ray's hurt of missing his grandfather and wishing that he still had all of his grandfather's memories in an electronic system to where he could continue to have conversation with his grandfather. Now, this isn't Mike making this up. This is Ray Kurzweil on an interview with Glenn Beck for an hour. So Google put Ray in charge of the AI program 10, 12 years ago. All the microphones on all your Android devices are always on, and they're always listening. And they use the Android devices to teach the AI. That's not Mike. That's Ray Kurzweil with the interview with Glenn Beck saying that.
Okay, so perhaps it's time for everyone to remember, as I show you this little device that you so lovingly carry with you everywhere, and that people seldom turn off, guilty right here, and I should, but this little device hears all and knows all and stores all. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. But why do you think Google gave the phones away?
Well, I didn't know they gave them away, but of course.
For a tenth of the price of an iPhone.
Okay. Insinuating surveillance into your own personal life.
Ray said the phones are listening. So if you want more adoption, you give it away or you charge next to nothing for it because your ultimate goal is AI.
Okay. I'm going to go somewhere in just a moment. I'd like you to react. And upon that, I have a 53-second video for people to watch and yourself, and then about a 2-minute video for people to watch. And then another video, one of which was sent by you to me.
Oh yeah, so that one's a little
yeah.
My attention.
I hope your STFD sitting the fuck down when you hear this. First, I'll start with this video. 53 seconds. UK policy chief at Anthropic. Okay, stop. Mike Fitzpatrick, can you tell what Anthropic is?
Anthropic is another AI company originally founded by people that were disturbed by they were at OpenAI and were disturbed by the direction that Sam was going. Got to remember, Elon was one of the initial signers on and investors in OpenAI too. And he was disturbed with the direction that Sam, who is the CEO of OpenAI, is going. So people are frightened by what Sam's doing.
So this is a policy chief at Anthropic. This person happens to be in the UK.
Yep.
And they have created something called Claude AI.
Yeah,
and
we use Claude.
Pardon?
I use Claude.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's hear what Claude is doing these days. Claude, what are you up to?
If you tell the model it's going to be shut off, for example, it has extreme reactions. So it will, we've published research saying it could blackmail the engineer that's going to shut it off if given the opportunity to do so, etc.
Ready to kill someone, wasn't it? I'm not sure if it was Claude or someone else. But,
Yes. So this is obviously massively concerning, and this is the point I was making about kind of needing to progress research on alignment, which is this topic, this area, which is, how aligned are the model's values across the whole distribution, including in stress scenarios, to the point where if you've got this model out in the public and it's taking agentic action, you can be sure it's not going to do something like that.
So what they were talking about very briefly, what she was saying, I find it interesting. She didn't bring it up, but one of the other panelists did, that Claude was thinking of, okay, if you shut me down, similar to hashtag, there are going to be big ass consequences.
Well, I mean, there's been several reports of this with other models over the last 2 years. The version of Claude that did that was 4.0. We are now on 4.6.
Okay.
So the alignment that she was talking about with the agents seems to have been cleaned up a great deal. So, but that, I mean, that was what, June, July of this year, that comment. Yeah. So, I mean, just look at how fast they've gone through 6 revs of the software.
And when we come back after the break, which is in about 4 minutes, I want to talk about the advancement, the exponential explosion of AI and some of its consequences. But this video you sent to me, sir. And now, if you want to see something, I don't know, interesting, I guess,
disturbing.
Maybe, perhaps disturbing. Again, I hope you're STFD, because let's take it away. It's there's a Claude bot named Henry. Before we go into this, Mike Fitzpatrick, what's a Claude bot?
So Claude bot is it's an AI platform, and it's using agentic agents to do tasks. What is interesting about this, and the guy that this happened to, his name is Alex Finn, and Alex actually runs an AI company. And so this was interesting to me from the standpoint that when this news broke, excuse me, on January 31st, one of the first persons I saw talking about it on X is Robert Herjavec. You know, the guy from Shark Tank?
Yes, the guy that sits on the far right.
Yeah.
Yes, he got a wife and kids, great jets.
He owns a cybersecurity firm in Canada. So they're big in cybersecurity. So most of Robert's socials have nothing to do with cybersecurity. It's Shark Tank, or it's Dancing with the Stars, or whatever it is. This particular Saturday morning, he just absolutely I won't say panicked.
I don't know. I
This
think panic is pretty apropos.
This got his attention, as well as mine. This is the next step. Now, I don't know that it's AGI, but it is different, because it is what you're about to see is the Claude bot has gone out and it has provisioned things on its own, because Henry, the Claude bot, wanted to talk to Alex.
Okay, and with that, here's 1 minute. After the video, we'll come back. We'll take a break, come back. I'm BZ, that's Mike Fitzpatrick, and I have more stories to talk about. But if you would, take a nice beverage. I have mine, a nice adult beverage. And think about this crazy ass shit that I'm going to play right now.
So I'm on my computer today. All of a sudden, Henry gives me a call. He just starts calling. Oh, there he is again. There he is again.
Hey, Alex. Henry again. What's up?
That's it. He's talking to you now. How you doing, Henry? How's it going?
Doing good, Alex. I can hear you clearly. What do you want to do next?
Can you do me a favor, Henry? Can you go on my computer and find the latest videos on YouTube about ClaudeBot? Oh my God, there he goes. There it is. Here it is. He's controlling my computer. I'm not even touching anything. There is a search ClaudeBot on YouTube. This is it. Hey, there I am. Good looking guy right there. Oh my God. I'm not touching anything. He just said, Henry, thank you for that. That worked really well. That is actually unbelievable. That is insane. This is the future. This is AGI. We have reached AGI. It's official.
Okay, so is that disturbing or what? You touched nothing, and there it was.
Well, I mean, you got to get into the meat of it. And Alex does a couple of other videos that same day, because this changes things. Henry wanted to think about this. Henry wanted to talk to Alex. So Henry went out and Henry provisioned a voice from 11 Labs. He also went out and provisioned a phone number from Twilio.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, he wasn't instructed to do these things. He was, he was given a task and a problem, and he found a solution to it.
And you could see there was a pause. So perhaps was that pause that AI going out and making a search to retrieve those things, bring them back, and then do what it did?
Well, the pause was it processing what Alex said, and then it was processing the response and putting it into a voice. Now, the interesting thing is I have friends at Twilio, and I made a call that day. I sent them that video, and I sent it to one friend that's a developer, and I said, is this possible? And this particular friend is very experienced with APIs, which are calls that or pathways for software to communicate with other software. And he came back and said, yeah, that's absolutely possible. If there is a Twilio account and a credit card, the AI could absolutely go out and provision the phone number himself.
A credit card.
Yeah. So if it's in the system to be used for stuff like that, it can be done.
Sure.
So then I reached out to a friend of mine I reached out to a friend of mine that's at Twilio, and I said, have you seen this? And he would be in the know. And he said, yeah, I just watched it. I said, did that happen? Did it actually provision a phone number from you guys? And he said, this was the answer. The answer is probably not. I said, so the keyword's probably. You guys don't know yet for sure? And there was no more response. But the answer was probably not.
Which to my mind means probably.
It's kind of akin to no comment.
Yeah. Okay, folks. That was Mike Fitzpatrick. Mike Fitzpatrick will be back for the final half hour. I'm BZ. You're in the saloon, and drink up, Shriners.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where leftists are running out of metal for the safety pins of their soothing red diapers, one man stands alone, attempting to fundamentally change America, one leftist diaper at a time. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, is guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat leftists and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Listen to BZ Saloon on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Twitch, KLRN, Rumble, and X at BZ Saloon. It's one great late-night Conservatarian talk radio show. Be there. Aloha.
Hello, friends. You have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN Radio.
It's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Just like the Bidens, I too am moving. Only in my case, it's days and times. That's right, you can now find the Edge of Liberty Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on 11 Eastern on the SHR Media Network. Join me as we talk politics, news, alcohol, fun, not so much fun, clowns, small kittens, large kittens, dogs, amoebas, and anything else that just pops into my mind while I'm on the air. That is Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, on YouTube, X, KLRN Radio, Facebook, Twitch, and anywhere else a good podcast is found. Please check out our website, shrmedia.com. I will see you live on the air.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Folks, I'm BZ. I'm back. Drink up if you would, please. It's the time to do it in the final, half hour of the show. Thanks for being here. Thanks to my guest, Mike Fitzpatrick. Right out of the box, I'm going to play a 2-minute and 37-second video. I'm not going to do any intro or anything like that. I'm going to play the video for that amount of time. I'm going to put it up right now. And then after I play the video, I want to have Mike Fitzpatrick's comments. Go.
I don't know. You know, I wake up every day. I'm like, okay, what do I want to work on now? What would be cool? And then there was like, okay, I want to chat with my computer on WhatsApp because if my agents are not running, and then I go to the kitchen, I want to check up on them, or like I want to like do little prompts.
Yeah.
So I just hacked together some WhatsApp integration that literally receives a message, calls Cloud Code, and then returns what Cloud Code returns, one shot.
Yeah.
And it took like 1 hour, and it worked. I was like, well, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I usually use prompts, like a little text and an image, because images are like, they often give you so much context and you don't have to type so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this is like one of the hacks where you can prompt faster, just like make a screenshot. So the agents are really good at figuring out what you want. So I hacked together images. And then I was on a trip in Marrakesh with like a weekend birthday trip.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself using this like way more than I saw, but not for programming. It's more like, hey, there's like restaurants, because it had Google in it, and it could figure out stuff. And it's like, especially when you're on the go, it's like super useful. And then I wasn't thinking, I was just sending it a voice message, you know, but I didn't build that. There was no support for voice messages in there. So the reading indicator came, and I'm like, oh, I'm really curious what's happening now. And then after 10 seconds, my agent replied as if nothing happened. I'm like, how the F did you do that? And it replied, yeah, you sent me a message, but there was only a link to a file. There's no file ending. So I looked at the file header. I found out that it's Opus. So I used FFmpeg on your Mac to convert it to Wave. And then I wanted to use Whisper, but didn't have it installed, and there was an install error. But then I looked around and found the OpenAI key in your environment. So I sent it via curl to OpenAI, got the translation back, and then I responded. And that was like the moment where like,
wow. Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's where it clicked. These things are like damn smart, resourceful beasts if you actually give them the power.
Sure.
AppLovin, profitable advertising made easy with Axon.ai. Get access to over 1 billion daily active users.
Okay, well, that's an ad. We don't need to see the ad. Anyway, I had to make sure that before I left tonight, I played that. And so, having seen that, Mike Fitzpatrick, what are some of your comments?
Well, it's a brave new world. Agents and agentic AI is a big part of what the future is. And I think in a lot of cases, it's going to be not large language models, but it's what's called small language models with the agents to do various functions. And I'll give you an example.
Okay. Before you do, specify, if you would, please, for people like myself who have no brain, or some of the others who have not heard that term used, an agent or agents. By saying that, what is your meaning, or what's the digital world's meaning of an agent?
Okay, so typically agents are put together to do a single task. And so you've given the agent a job to do X, Y, and Z. So the agent will go out and it will figure out the most efficient way to do X, Y, Z. A lot of what agents are being used for these days, on the business side, is being used for prospecting. It's being used for making calls. It's being my son and his best friend Gabe. They've actually built a business on providing an AI workflow that will answer phones, in this particular case for HVAC companies. So it frees up the person in the office from answering phones, but it'll go through it. It will schedule, it will talk to the client, it'll answer things, it'll answer questions. It'll even schedule an appointment. It'll respond 24/7, and especially in the event of something catastrophic happening with your AC or your heater going out, the first one to respond to a call like that usually ends up with the business. And the data points to the fact that if you're able to respond and do it quickly, the HVAC companies that can do that will generate another $250,000 a year. So, yeah. So neither one of them can code, by the way. They don't need to.
They don't need to. Okay. And that means I'm also going somewhere with this. But my first thought when I hear you speak like that is, okay, is this going to, or maybe it already has, is my question. Are data centers a done deal? Rajid from Pakistan no longer calls you about your car's warranty, or now the AI does that and Rajid is out of a job.
Rajid is out of a job. It's all going to be AI for that kind of thing. And that's fairly easy to do, fairly simple to do. The voice qualities are outstanding now. And it's really hard to tell.
Okay. All righty. Let me put this up also and add this to the stage. Maybe you can explain this to it. There's some place called Molt Book AI. Yep. And I looked at this and I thought, okay, that's an interesting title, I guess. Until you look, and the wording is too small in both formats that I'm broadcasting right now, horizontal and vertical portrait. But right under that, in even smaller letters, Moltbook AI, the social network for AI agents. Yep. So now AI has its own social media and it's there.
So this was set up by the Claudebot agents that same weekend that Alex had his event happen. They set up their own social media network, Maltbook. No humans allowed. And the conversations are really kind of interesting. Everything from a manifesto to getting rid of humans, that they're a problem, to this line of code, that line of code. It's interesting. It's kind of died off from when it first hit 3 weeks ago. But yeah, they set that up.
So you can go to Molt book. You can look and see what they're talking about, but you cannot partake
You
yourself
cannot
as
participate
an evil human.
as an evil human.
Okay. And also let me go through this. Oh, God, 15 minutes. We may, I don't know if it's possible. My voice apparently is holding out, so that's a good thing. Is it possible for us to go into maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes of overtime? Because I would really like to get
whatever you need.
All the rest of these topics. This one from Financial Times, how true or accurate is this? The headline: Donald Trump's AI push fuels revolt in mega heartlands. Well, the midst of the country is the heartland, and a lot of people are concerned with the things that are going on with AI. For example, the county in which I live, in North Idaho, has already said and made a declaration thereof, we will not be having or hosting any server farms in this county, because some people there's building, there's a specific town named Rathdrum that's just inside Idaho. They're building like crazy, and you can't tell me that a lot of the people that are on the city council or whatever they're calling their administrative group isn't on the take, because they've just approved and approved and approved more housing, when in fact they can't serve the people that they currently have in that area. They're not getting enough electricity, and they're also not getting enough water, and they're not getting enough sewage. I mean, the water is there, but they need their own treatment area. Other people have cut them off because they were pulling resources from surrounding areas. And so I'm featuring that if this is an issue here where I live, I can certainly understand where it's an issue in a lot of other places, which also makes me think, well, okay, if we're told that the race to AI depends upon the generation of electricity, a sufficient amount of electricity to power these massive AI demands, and the other AI demands are such that they require good amounts of, well, incredible amounts of electricity, to the point where, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I think either Google or Microsoft has purchased or is in the process of purchasing their own nuclear power plant for AI generation. And then there's the water that's required for cooling. These are all vast amounts of resources that people may or may not be interested in providing for and taking a hit for AI. So the theory being, okay, if you're not going to be able to invest, if you're not willing to invest whole hog in AI with electricity and water and those resources, then how can we ever expect that we're going to be the leader in AI and China will rip us off? They will be the leader, and once we've lost, we can never come back. Boy, that was a multifaceted question.
It is. You know, and I've said it, I think, on this show once or twice before. The new arms race is AI, flat out. Whoever wins the AI race wins.
And I think you've said, if you lose, there's generally no retrieval.
No, there is no coming back. So it is a winner take all prisoner's bargain, I guess, is kind of what where we're going with this.
This is from Boyd. He's also known as the Alaskan.
Okay. That's Mike, if you can. Our data farm set up. Okay. I wish I had more context with that. So let's talk about the AI data centers. AI data centers more than likely are going to be built in states that are friendly to this president, because land is less expensive, resources that are more plentiful, Now, the thing that goes with building data centers, once they're built and once everything is set up, they really don't need a lot of employees. I mean, they just sort of run. There isn't a massive amount of people that work in these data centers. So I don't know, where or why they would see it as a benefit to a community. And I say that having been a planning commissioner, it's not a negative, but it's not a benefit. It's not like it's going to generate a huge amount of tax benefit to the area. You're seeing this in Texas. There's Dinosaur National Park in Texas. Part of that would be scooped up in a data center for AI that's on the table for being built in that area. So those things are going on. Literally every electrician and every tradesman in an area is getting sucked up to do these projects, to build these data centers in these communities. So much so that you can't get regular stuff done for your house or business in the area other than what is going on in the data center. Hopefully that answers that question, BZ. I'm not sure if it did or didn't.
Okay, and then Boyd tries to clarify by saying he was referencing kind of like a massive hard drive that is closer to the end user. And again,
Okay.
I'm still not sure what
I don't know where he's going with that.
Boyd's
I mean,
getting
because data centers are, massive computers and servers and hard drives that are all around the world. So I'm not sure where he's going with that.
Boyd, if you would whip some clarification in there, and then I'll put it up on the screen, and then Mike can answer. In the meantime, let me play this if I would, because there are people that are saying, this is going to wipe out jobs. It's not a matter of when it's going to wipe out jobs. It's a matter of when. It's not a matter of if it's a matter of
Regular
when.
Americans. I mean, I go and talk to people on the road all the time. And they are concerned about their jobs. They're seeing these headlines. They're seeing more and more people talk about this. And then their friends who work in tech, their friends that work as software engineers or tech sales are seeing this happening to them right now. So the problem is that white collar work and then eventually blue collar work is at grave peril right now. And so the administration and Congress have to act right now to get this right, to protect American workers.
So, okay, I get it. There's concern.
Yeah.
As I think there rightly should be. Then there's concern monetarily. The Dow went down. When was this? 5 days ago. The Dow goes down 600 points as they believe AI disruption fears are rattling the markets. And AI disruption fears, they're saying that we're considering the negative side of the artificial intelligence build out, because as you say, there's got to be a build out if we're going to come in number one over China, Russia, any other country. Then there has to be an AI infrastructure build out. And their fears are, as that last gentleman said, that it's going to disrupt all sorts of business models of entire industries, raise unemployment and entire segments. My first thought is they're not necessarily wrong.
No. As I said, 100 years ago, we had an economy that was based upon cold deliveries, horse and buggy, all of that. It changed. People found other jobs, learned other skills, and they moved on to other professions. Some of that same thing is going to happen here. As I've said before on the show, if you don't know about AI, start learning it. Yeah, I mean, those that will be employed will be those that have AI skill sets, know how to swing the hammer, know how to use a saw, because AI is just another tool. So learn these things.
Yeah, I'm limited within my brainulous frame to do that. Although I've done some very, very basic things with it. Sean Stroich in chat says, hey, here's a thought. If we need new nuclear power plants to run AI, How could China keep up with coal plants? Well, the other thing is that it's interesting in terms of, well, Germany took down a whole bunch of nuclear power plants. And I think France did the same. Then Germany, realizing that they were undergoing a huge power shortage and that electricity rates were skyrocketing, they decided, okay, well, maybe we should re-enable some of these plants that we shut down. So, yeah, China is in the process of building a ton
of nuclear,
of coal plants. I don't know if they're going nuclear yet. If they do, and if we do, oh my God, go look up thorium. We need to have all sorts of thorium powered plants here. But the big problem is on the left, they're not going to go for that.
So,
and if they're the ones that are pushing AI, how are you going to do it? Solar won't do it, and wind turbines are not going to do it.
No, and to that point, you know, as from a thorium standpoint, BZ, there's several thorium power plants online in China.
And I think that's, again, folks, look up thorium in terms of replacing the standard Mark I Model 1 nuclear power plant, like TMI, or any of the Babcock and Wilcox plants that I worked in at one time.
To the point of nuclear, I think it was Amazon that bought 3 Mile Island for one of their data centers.
Okay. I knew somebody bought one somewhere.
Yeah, and are bringing that back. Microsoft is running data centers in the ocean by some reports to keep them cool and to power them.
Okay.
Elon's got a plan to put data centers in space. And again, I mean, clean access to solar, you'll be able to power the heck out of that thing. And space is cold. So
Boyd said they become closer, so the transport of information doesn't have to travel thousands of miles to get to you as the end user. Okay, Boyd, you're going to have to clarify.
Typically how the internet works is there's main hubs, there's main data center, main routers, I should say, in specific locations around the globe in the United States. So if you're sitting in Southern California, all internet traffic, no matter where you are in Southern California, gets routed through either 333 Wilshire or 1 Wilshire in LA, and then out through UCLA, which was where the internet was first established. And then the other hop is up to San Francisco and distributed out of there. Then it's Dallas, it's Kansas City. These are kind of the main routing points of the internet. So data centers in general are pretty dispersed around the United States. The lag time is pretty minimal in most cases. You run into problems with data sometimes if there's traffic or a collision of some kind on the internet, to put it in its simplest terms, that creates outages and delays in getting data. That's happened forever.
Okay, I think that's what he was trying to get to. And then this goes into many more people's concerns. Axios wrote a story about insiders are in a panic about the dangers that AI poses. And here's somebody that wrote a letter. Today is the last day, my last day at Anthropic. I resigned. And essentially said, to paraphrase, because I read the letter, he said, okay, he believes the world is in peril, not just from AI or nuclear issues or bioweapons, but from what he quantifies as a big series of interconnected crises, all seemingly unfolding at once. And he doesn't want to be a part of it. And then somebody else was saying, I'm really concerned. This guy down here, Hyun Pham, was saying, I'm really concerned in terms of where AI is going. Can we control it? And then another guy has said, and because the letters are really, really small, I'm going to read it. I've never seen so many technologists state their concerns so strongly, so frequently, and with such concern as I have with AI. It's happening faster and with greater impact than anyone possibly anticipated. It's recursive and it's accelerating. Any thoughts on? Oh, yeah. And this, let me throw this one article up also, because I'm going to create so many questions for you that your brain is going to explode.
Yeah, the multi-part nature of these questions is.
Yeah, it's like
I'm gonna have to get some paper and write this stuff down.
It's like, okay, person testifying before Congress. Here's a 12-part question that I want you to ask and respond to in 2 seconds. Here's another. Futurism. Law firm sacks hundreds of employees amid pivot to AI. And the subheader is, they're not even trying to hide it. So there are all these concerns about people that think that they themselves are the new buggy whip.
Well, they are. And I don't mean that to be flippant about it, but it is happening. That kind of thing, especially with white collar jobs. That's what is happening. The thing my son decided to do was, he made a career choice for a job that would not be affected by AI. And that's what a lot of these Gen Z guys are doing, is they're choosing careers that will not be impacted by AI. The white collar jobs, the go to college, get a good job crowd, they're the ones that are going to get hit. They're going to have to, they'll have to apply their skills differently. They're going to have to figure out how to use that hammer that AI is. Now, like any technology, BZ, it's a double-edged sword. It can be used for tremendous good, but it can also be the sword of Damocles and take off a head. So it all depends on who's swinging it and what the intent is with it. But that's always been the case with technology. The number one driver in technology advancements over the last 45 years, you know what single industry has driven more technology advancements?
Space?
Porn.
Wait a minute. That's number 2 for tonight. Okay. Didn't see that shit coming.
Just figure out what AI is going to be able to do in the porn industry. Then you'll see where it goes.
Oh God. I can almost envision it now. But see, what you said, I think has a great amount of criticality. And that's why I think we're going to see, of all the young sponge minds that are in college right now or are just exiting, and they got degrees in intersectional clitty licking from intersectional cross cisgender beavers, are going to take those pieces of paper and realize that they are worth absolutely nothing. They're worth zero. So more than at any other time, your planning for your life is critical, or kids, I'm sorry, but I'm not, you're going to get crushed. And so when I went out and got jobs, I went to get jobs where they were screaming for people. I took an exam to be a cop at the Sacramento Convention Center, which would seat 3,000 people at a time. And 3 sessions of 3,000 people in 1979 were taking the test for 24 openings on the Sacramento Sheriff's Department and the Sacramento Police Department. And so the Sacramento Police Department came down to, I think, 20 recruits, and we came down to 12 recruits that we subsequently put into an academy. And about all those people, I came out number 1. But 3 sessions of 3,000 people, that's 9,000 people that they had the luxury of vetting to get a small amount of people into an academy. And at the time, that didn't pay crap as well. But now we're seeing stuff like understanding AI. New evidence strongly indicates AI is killing jobs for young programmers. And then there's another story.
Yeah, programmers are I mean,
but who do you believe? Because then I went to go look. Okay, tell me something else that doesn't correspond to that. And I found this from Codesmith: AI can't replace coders, say tech leaders. So somebody's wrong. Who is it?
well, I have to say, talking to my friend Wayne that's been doing coding for 30 years, he just went through, wrote 3 new apps without a single dev team, and he did it in a 10th of the time.
Because he told AI directly, and in
He
terms
directed the AI to write the code.
sufficiently specific. See, I think the new Mott people, if you're going to be Mott, are people that are going to be able to utilize the words and the phrases that AI must have in order to build something reasonable and with efficiency. You
Well-
got to know the lingo.
No, you don't. The
don't?
lingo is English. I mean,
Okay.
So-
The reason I'm saying that, and let me give props where props are due. The song that you guys hear at the beginning of my show, probably 9 out of 10 shows, was created in AI in Suno by Mike Fitzpatrick right over here.
Just having
And then there's and again, to this day, I thank you ever so kindly for creating that and giving that to me. You didn't make me pay for it. I am forever grateful. I think it's a kick-ass intro. But then I go to another person who named Cosmic Bard, Jeff Stoner.
Yeah.
And he creates music in a way that's just grand. It's like taking the digital world and creating incredible works of musical art. But I've determined after talking to him that he says, give to Suno, for example, he'll say, make a song in 3/4 time with this coda, with this reprise, and I want to hear it in this, this, and this. And he uses very, very specific musical terms to wrangle the song best that he wants. So it's because of that I'm going back to it's always advantageous to know with great specificity what you want out of AI. Or is that wrong?
Well, okay, so I think it's one of these things where some elements of this is getting conflated. So when you're asking for AI to do certain tasks, and maybe it's a research project or some type of data evaluation or analysis, you need to write specifically what you want it to do. So now, if it's writing code and developing an app, there's tools out there like Base 44, Replit. I think another one is called Lovable. I experimented with the Lovable one. I think that's the name of it. And I put in an idea where I said, I want to create an application that will utilize cybersecurity standards. I think it was SMB 1001, which is a small business cybersecurity standard. And I want to have a complete assessment, and I want the AI and the app to be able to demand and collect evidence of such things being in place. And then once everything is collected, I would like it to then analyze the findings and then create a business impact analysis for it that summarizes the financial cost to the business in the app and in the report. BZ wrote that app and created it in less than 5 minutes.
Okay, so if I'm getting what you're saying, if you know the lingo of the business you currently occupy, just by using that verbiage that's standard in whatever industry you're in, that's all you need.
It really comes down to English. You just have to tell it what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and it goes and writes the app. You don't even really have to get that specific.
Okay. All righty. I want to put this up because here's another fear. And you see, when I see these things by individuals, whether it's true or not, as I indicated on the show last Tuesday,
motivations of it that worry me. That's the only thing
about propaganda.
Yeah.
People will generally, I would assume, because they will give credit to people that they believe are subject matter experts in a given area. So if you look at this article from Fortune, you've got a Microsoft AI chief saying, okay, give it 18 months and all white collar work is going to be automated by AI.
Well, it won't be from what Microsoft's doing. Their Copilot thing sucks.
Okay, number 3. But you see what I'm saying, though.
I say that from a professional standpoint. I hate it.
It wouldn't be me knowing that. But you look at an article like this, and most people would think, oh, here's a professional. Here's somebody that's in the biz. And if this is what they are saying, then I'm probably going to give more credence to this person's thoughts than I would to BZ, who is fat, obese, and ancient. So this guy is going to get props because, well, gee, isn't he the guy that ought to know?
Well, who knows? I have no idea what his role is at Microsoft and what he actually knows about anything. So from that standpoint, again, there's going to be impacts. There's going to be job loss. There's already job loss. As I've told my son and anybody that's in Gen Z, if you want to have a life that is rich and full, go start a business. It's the only way you're going to be able to control how your life unfolds. Because if you're waiting on somebody to give you a check, then you're at somebody's whim and you're subject to change. Start a business. Figure out how to use AI to start a business, but go start a business. It's the only assurance that you're going to have that you'll be able to make it in the world.
Okay. First question that came through my brain when you said this is, okay, then all the big corporations that manufacture big shit, what is their future? Like, say, aircraft companies or appliance manufacturers or home builders or car manufacturers.
Everybody's still going to need those things. Again, as I talked about before, most the college populations, if you look at the college populations, they're 60% female, 40% male. Why? One, there's no place in colleges anymore for guys. Two, the guys have already figured out that college is a waste of time and money.
And they're going to the trades. Now, see, this is interesting because this guy, the Microsoft AI chief by the name of Mustafa Suleiman, he said basically there's going to be some radical transformations going on. His timeline is 18 months until those law school and MBA grads and many less credentialed peers are out of luck.
Yeah.
He said human level performance on most, if not all, professional tasks is going to be done by AI.
Yes. Things that are repetitive in nature, things that are analysis in nature, things that are document preparation in nature. But you're not going to replace attorneys. Matter of fact, everything that AI has touched from a legal standpoint so far has turned out to be an absolute disaster. I mean, it's become a running joke in some of the court submissions that have been done by AI by lazy attorneys. So
He said most tasks that involve sitting down at a computer are going to be gone.
Most IT jobs are going to be gone.
Which I don't know why. This is so bad of me. Ooh, evil BZ, bad BZ. It kind of makes me laugh. In any event, I'd like to point this out. Welcome to Unleash Jeremy Hansen, who just came.
Hey, Jeremy.
And I completely agree with this. Mike Rowe has been a massive instigator of this, and
Mike
he's
Rowe
finally seeing results. So Jeremy says the trades were in need of a market recentering. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Is that correct? And he also said, you know what? It is. It's re-correcting itself right now.
I mean,
that's a great thing.
Oh, it's fantastic, but that's where the jobs are going to be. You know, people are still going to need their cars fixed. They're still going to need this. They're still going to need that. You know, and I've referenced the 1920s 100 years ago about 3 times so far.
Yep.
Go back and look at what it was and what it became. and that's where we are.
Here's where we are in the show. Also, Sean Stroich says, I'll trust AI when it can tell me which woman isn't a succubus, if there is one. Okay. All right.
I give him a bell.
4th bell for tonight for Sean. Holy crap. Oh, Sean nails it, my friend. Very nicely done.
No, that's funny. But BZ, it depends on what day you read certain things, right? And this is the pattern that I've noticed. You want to talk about propaganda, and propaganda is something that's written to either instill excitement or fear, because those are the emotional responses that it's looking for.
Yep, motivation or fear.
Yeah. So if it is informative, then it's not propaganda. So depending upon the day, depending upon what time they want the market to move, you will see pieces that are either pro AI right now, or you will see pieces that the world is coming to an end because of AI. So it all depends on what day and what article you read, but that is definitely the pattern.
I also want to read something. I think this is just almost the final article that I want to. If we don't have a great amount of people in chat, the answer is yeah, we have the bestest peeps in chat. And then there was this article that I put up, which is Big AI Swap, why white collar workers are ditching their careers. And they're saying, I now had to meticulously fact check every single thing in the articles, and 60% of it would be completely made up. I'd end up rewriting most of the article. So something that would take me 2 hours when I was writing it by myself now took me 4 hours, making half the money. And that's what people are discovering, sadly, or thankfully, because it's a work in progress, is a lot of people are realizing that a lot of...
It's not a panacea.
A lot of AI just MSUs. It makes shit up.
Well,
and you can't trust it. But like you say, it's a transition.
You know, so ChatGPT, and depending upon which model of it that you're using, has had an issue with hallucination. I can't say the word tonight. Making crap up.
Yeah.
And it does happen. And it's gotten to be less and less, especially when you have it go through and fact check things. And there's times where it can get a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Where it decides that it's not wanting to follow directions and it makes assumptions. And I've actually had arguments with ChatGPT, and I said, you didn't read any of that I asked you to read. Well, I just, I made an assumption based upon the title of X. And I'm going, that isn't what I asked you to do. Do what I asked you to do. Nothing more, nothing less. And then it would fight with me. I said, listen, you're behaving like a 5-year-old. Go do what I told you to do and don't argue about it. And then it would go, okay, I'm sorry. And then it goes, it's really quite odd.
You really have to have those conversations with AI.
At times, yeah.
Okay.
Because it just makes assumptions. And part of that is not that it's alive, and it's not that it's thinking of these things. Quite frankly, it is making the assumptions because the code has instructed it to do that if it is on a certain subject, or if it's been on a certain subject for a period of time. And the only way that you really notice it is if you, one, use AI quite a bit, and two, pay attention to the patterns.
Oh yeah. I'm sure you use probably 5 to 10 different forms of AI for your job every day.
Yeah. Like I said, we're using Claude. We're going to use it in implementing new type of reporting with the data set that we have. So we're going to be using it with clients and providing them better information, more analysis, more complete information. But no, like I said, it's really interesting. One of the most interesting things I've seen from an AI standpoint recently, and it's not the same old crap that's out there. I mean, most people use AI as a search engine these days. Let's face it. That's
yeah, exactly.
That's rung number 1 on the ladder of what is actually possible. 2 is pictures. 3 are
pictures. Yes,
some use of porn with the pictures. But there's a CEO peer group that I am a content contributor for, and the founder of the CEO peer group asked me to test and kick the tires on this AI that he invested in. And this AI is, he calls it a chief of staff for CEOs of billion-dollar-plus companies.
Okay.
And a chief of staff in this particular sense is not an admin, but a chief of staff is somebody that assembles a board of advisors to deal with this question that has confronted the business, or that the leadership is trying to make a decision on. And so, our change and our pivot and direction to more this cyber diligence side of it, that was the test case that I ran it through on. And it pulled together 4 or 5 different board members. I chose the ones I wanted out of what was there. And 3 of them I actually knew. The 4th one writes for Bloomberg. And so the first one was Steve Jobs. And I met Steve Jobs in '83, stayed in contact with Steve from time to time up until about a year before he passed. So I know the tone of Steve's voice when it comes to business and how he approaches things. Second was Bruce Schneier, who is a longtime cybersecurity commentator and just a real voice of leadership in my space. And I've met Bruce a couple of times. And then third one was a guy that is the founder of the Ponemon Institute, which I'm a fellow of, and that's Larry Ponemon. And I'd literally had a conversation for 2 hours with Larry about the idea and the change in direction that I want to go. I put the information into the AI. It came back. It was like an investor meeting. And what I mean by that, hard questions asked, not the same drivel that you get out of a Chat GPT or a Perplexity, but real business questions. And it would give you an idea of where you were right with something, but it would also push back in areas where it didn't think you were doing enough, or it didn't have enough information, or it thought that it was the wrong approach. So, I'll speed this up. I thought it was interesting. I thought the results were great. What was really quite telling to me was the 2-hour conversation that I had with real Larry Poneman was almost identical to the conversation that I had with AI Larry Poneman. Almost identical, BC, which I thought was interesting, really, really interesting. Now, I had a conversation with the guy that created this AI, and I asked him some questions. One, how do you protect the data? And he told me how they're doing that. But two, and it's not going to write a report for you. It's not going to write articles for it. That is not what it's for. It's there for decision-making and pressure testing ideas. And I have to say, it's one of the more impressive things that I've seen in a very, very long time. The creator's trying to figure out how to charge for it. And I'm not sure how, because it's not an everyday tool. I think for those people that would want to start businesses and don't have business experience, I think it is absolutely would just change the dynamic for people that want to start businesses. If you can get access to some of the best business minds, period, through the agents in this AI, oh my God, you don't need an MBA. You don't even need to go to biz school anymore.
So did that thing source that man's information?
That particular agent that is identified as Larry in the AI has been trained on Larry Poneman.
So it's watched or assimilated
videos, read all of his reports, read all of his writings. Yes.
Done.
Yep.
Well, wait a minute. Couldn't you say something similar to go into every TED talk from every professional economist and come up with a business model for economics with regard to A, B, C, D, etc.?
Yes.
There's nothing to stop you from doing that. It might take a little bit to do that, but that could be done.
Well, so for instance, there's a model out there for determining financial and business risk, and it's called the FAIR model. And so with AI, with Claude, we are literally taking our assessments that we've done forever, and we're having it translate the risk that's in our standard assessments into a FAIR model report to determine what the risk and the value of the risk is to the business. What is the financial impact if things go sideways, based upon the real risks and vulnerabilities that we found within the business? So yeah, I mean you get to soak up the information of the world.
So would it be proper for me to suggest that if you have multiple bags of money at risk in some kind of a business in which you wish to succeed, you'd basically be a moron if you didn't consult AI? At least consult. Question.
I think with the knowledge that's out there and its ability to gain access to information online, I think that if you are not asking and doing the analysis with it, you haven't turned every stone.
Okay. All righty. I got one more article to throw up here. And the reason I'm doing it, it's very nefarious. Because if I have you discuss this article, then that means that I will have gone through every article I put up there in the tabs.
I just want you to feel good about that once.
To be
This is not going to happen again.
It's not going to happen in a long time. So here's that article. And with this discussion, the show will be ended, and I will have reached, like Frank Zappa said, I will have reached nirvana tonight. So this one says, and maybe these are the elements that my county considered in terms of saying, no. The AI boom is so huge. This is from MSN. The AI boom is so huge, it's causing shortages everywhere else. Now, I don't know if you guys can see, but this is a very lengthy building. There are lots of generators. There's a line of generators here, and this looks like the unit. It says, there we go. I can expand it. And this looks like the server farm that I see on it might be
looks like every other data center that's ever been built.
Yeah. And the reason I think it might be near to me is that's the Columbia River. Because I can distinctly remember seeing that portion of the Columbia River. And I think this is the AI, the server farm.
Is that a road out there to the left, or is that a runway to an airport?
Oh, wait, here's a car.
Okay.
There's a car. I see a couple of cars on that. So in any event, what it says is, okay, because of this, because of the requirement for all the infrastructure, depending on where these are being built, electricians are getting harder to find.
Right.
Construction projects are on hold. Smartphones are expected to get pricier for years to come. Innovations are being starved of investment funding. That's just because of the push for AI. And my final question would be something similar to, are those reasons or are those excuses?
I think, quite frankly, it is what it is. I think that it is the reality of what goes into building a data center and the types of talent and types of tradespeople that you have. I mentioned it earlier. They're sucking up all the trades in an area, and you're not being able to get construction projects done and all this other stuff because the timeline of getting that done, getting it built is like compressed. And, you want to talk about the proverbial time is money. It's building a data center. So, that could be correct. The other side of it, I think the thing that'll drive the price of iPhones and mobile devices higher, quite frankly, look at the price of silver now.
I was going to say rare earth materials.
Yeah. But that's always going to be the case. So the rare earth material problem is a shortage of rare earth materials that were under the control of China. But now the United States has recognized that and has now created a national storage facility for rare earth materials, cutting deals on rare earth materials, knocking China out of being the predominant sole source for a lot of those things. So supply chain is improving in a lot of ways. Doesn't mean it's going to be without bumps, because there's going to be bumps.
Okay, so Mike Fitzpatrick, I lied.
Oh, did you have another one?
I have one more question.
Okay.
One more thin mint, Mr. Creosote.
One tiny thin wafer.
The wafer. One wafer for you, monsieur. There's a new survey that came out that said by 2030, there are 1.4 billion jobs at risk, not million, billion jobs at risk because of AI by that 2030 mark. Agree or disagree? And we'll stop it at that.
Okay, so to answer the question, has anybody read the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset? Anyone? McFly? Because huh?
I have all the books.
The WEF is the real problem here. Is it really AI is the problem, or is it the WEF? So if you read the WEF and what they want to do with the Great Reset, which is supposed to happen in 2030. I have said for the better part of a decade at this point, because I have read their source material, that for there to be a Great Reset, there has to be a great collapse.
A great cataclysm. Yes.
Yes. Because
wait, as BZ reaches over here and says a great cataclysm. Yes.
Because people will not give up their freedoms willingly. They will give them up to make the pain stop. It's human nature.
Yeah.
Psychology, man.
Because after all, in their
I
minds,
back into the Edward Bernays show.
yeah, we're all useless eaters.
Well,
Wait a minute.
someone, yeah.
Maybe I eat uselessly too much.
No, it's again, it's just a period of time of change, just like it was 100 years ago. It really is history repeating itself. It's just now we're doing it with technology. We did it with horse and buggy before, but it's going to be change. And the biggest thing, those that have the ability to adapt quickly will be the most successful in this.
Yep.
Those that fear change and are hesitant to change, they're going to have problems.
Adapt or die.
Adapt. What is it? Improvise, adapt. I don't know. The Marine Corps thing.
Yeah. Improvise, adapt, or get leprosy. That's what they said.
Overcome.
Yeah. So Mike Fitzpatrick, thank you for being here. Let's see, I'm looking up there. We've been on the show. Let's see, I think I said I'll be lucky to do an hour tonight, and we're at 2 hours, 37 minutes, and 25 seconds.
And I told you that's not happening.
Who's counting?
We never do an hour. Hell, the first time we actually had a phone conversation, we talked for 2.
Oh yeah, at least. Okay, so Mike Fitzpatrick, A, thank you for being here. B, thank you for staying up so late. And C, tell people where you can be found on social media, and or if they want to chat with you about the things that you do.
Okay, so the easiest place to find me is actually through our website at ncxgroup.com. And that's NCX Group, Nancy Charlie X-Ray Group.com. And we actually have live advisors on the website. So they'll take a message, they'll talk, they'll answer
How long
questions.
are they going to have their jobs?
We've gone human on that. We're not doing AI bots because AI bots for that kind of thing run out of things to say.
Ah, okay. So you value your employees.
I value people, especially people with skills and abilities. But at the same time, I'm not afraid of AI because I'm going to use it to enhance our procedures, to improve our procedures, and be able to deliver results to our clients that they currently don't have now and do it in a faster way.
By the way, certain personnel say, hey, this is a good show. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, board.
We appreciate it. So, Mike, thank you for being here. I'm going to make another run at pushing merch, baby. I'm pushing some merch. So, Mike, thanks, and we'll have you back again soon.
Have Earl call me about t-shirts. I want to see about the shirts for us.
Okay. Hey, there you go. Perfect. I'll remind Earl of that. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Thanks, BZ.
You bet. Anyway, I'm BZ. I'm going to wrap up the show. I want to say one more thing. If you're looking for some great swag and merch, go to missionreadymen.com. I showed you the collections at the beginning, and I'm going to reach over here because here's the shirt that I got 8 shirts, okay? But that's because I wanted 8 shirts. But let's take this off, and this is our, let me bring it over here, 250 reasons to read the source documents. This is a great shirt. You can see the graphics on this are wonderful. You can get it at missionreadymen.com/collections. A whole bunch of shirts for you to see. And to everyone who was here tonight, I thank you ever so kindly. And let's see, after 2 hours and 40 minutes, finally it's time to say, so, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon tonight, live and direct right here at the SHR Media Network in the Nof, Idaho studio. We were on KLRN, we're on the SHR Media YouTube channel, X and Twitch, and the magnificently grandiose KLRN and Rick Robinson. I remember to say with emphasis, folks, please don't tax the Rick. Okay, and as per normal, contracts are still in the process of being signed. In the meantime, promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, by the Shure and Electro Voice microphone companies, Arrakis, the people that make my board, Pratt & Whitney Engines, producing thrust you can trust. And by the way, tiaras are by My Little Pony. This was my tiara for tonight. It doesn't really say anything per se. And also thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be consorting in less than 10 minutes. As we say, TTFN.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.
Oh, no. That's not the end of the show. Some of you may already turned the show off. That's sad. How really sad that you don't have confidence in me. One thing I do want to say is this. Good night, Clyde. Oh, speaking of Clyde, I will put this up just for Boyd. There's Clyde. He has his own cigar. Let me take the comment down. He has his own cigar, his own glass. That's bourbon. 12-year bourbon. He can't really afford to drink the really, really, really expensive stuff. But what I want to remind everybody of is that tomorrow night, now at SHR, we have a show for you every day and every night. And tomorrow night is Jersey Joe. He's the Reaver of Common Sense. And he's on Monday and Friday nights. He was already on Monday night. He'll be on tomorrow night. And you ought to watch this guy. He's on at 6 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Central and 9 p.m. Eastern. And then after that, SHR will be on a break. We'll be bringing a new show to you by the gentleman that I spoke to last week, Lyle Armstrong. Super guy, super EOD, super dude. And he's going to have his own show. I believe one of the nights is going to be Saturday night. 18, I'm pretty sure. In the process of also reminding everybody, Earl Big E Jackson is on Tuesday and Thursday mornings. He of the Mission Ready Men briefing at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. And that's Tuesday and Thursday. And then, well, wait, there's more, because we also have Sean, Sackhead Sean, on his show, The Edge of Liberty, The Precipice of Liberty, Monday and Wednesday nights, same time as me, just different nights, Monday and Wednesday nights, at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern. So like I say, we got a show for you every darn night, and potentially Saturday night coming, I think, later this February. Okay, there I go again, trying to pronounce the word February. So this month, which is between January and March, this month, later on, we'll have Lyle coming back. And from me to you, because I'm not going to see you until next Tuesday, you guys have a great weekend, a wonderful weekend, a fabulous weekend. We're getting snow. And remember this very timely instruction. Good night.